Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 1:21. Our next remote location is Tensaw Parish. Mr. Early, is there someone from Tensaw staff at Tensaw in the room with you today? You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Yeah, she coming now. She coming now.
Okay. Good.
Millie. Oh, Millie.
It's all right. Well, when she comes in, I'll ask her to introduce herself.
All right.
Mr. Early, let me explain our process to you. I'm going to go over a few things. Would you please give me your full name and DOC number?
My name is Curtis Early, and my DOC number is 751276.
Mr. Early, let me explain our process to you. I'm going to read some information into the record, and then we're going to conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will allow those persons who wish to have input to speak. Currently asking to speak today is Toya Taylor, your sister, and Edna Early, your mother. Also present is a friend who does not wish to speak, Ayana Hardy. In speaking in opposition will be Mr. Randy Meyer with the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office. At the end of that hearing in discussion, you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to the board, and then we'll vote. You understand how our procedure works?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a matter of Curtis Early, DOC number 751276, date of birth April the 30th, 1973. He's a third-class felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of September the 3rd of 2020. He is not eligible for good time, and he has a full term date of June the 3rd of 2024. He is currently serving a 5-year sentence for pandering after having been adjudicated a habitual offender, being sentenced on January the 16th of 2020. Is that information fairly accurate, Mr. Early?
Yes, sir. Besides the year supposed to be 1993. I think you had said like 1970 or something. The year I was born.
The year is supposed to be what?
1993.
Well, your record reflects that on January the 16th of 2020, you were sentenced to 5 years as a habitual offender on the charge of pandering.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct. Yes, sir. That's correct.
All right. Your case has been assigned to Miss Bonnie Jackson. Would you please answer any questions she might have?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Early.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
How much time have you actually served on this charge?
I served 50 months. I've been in jail since 2019, 50 months.
Okay. What's pandering?
Man, I was involved with a girl who was selling herself, selling her body, and I was aware of what was going on.
What does that mean? You were involved with a girl that was selling her body.
I was in altercation. I was in altercation with a girl who was selling her body, and I was using drugs and money just to get up there and take her to do those things.
Usually, someone charged with pandering is kind of the pimp, pimping women out for sex and taking part of the money, or if not all of the money. That's what pandering is.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what the charge is considered of. But I wouldn't consider myself as being a pimp to the girl. But I did know what was going on and what was involved, and I was just taking her to do those things.
Why were you taking her to do those things? What was in it? What was in it for you to take her to do those things?
Drugs and money.
She was giving you drugs and money? I mean, I'm trying to understand what were you getting out of her prostituting herself?
Money. I was just getting money from her.
And why would she give you money?
To take her to do those things, to take her to go handle her business and do those things. That she
Could have
would do.
taken Uber, could have taken Uber, could have taken herself. Why did she need you to take her?
Cause we was having sex.
And how old was she?
She was 22.
Is that the only girl that you were involved with who was committing prostitution?
Yes, ma'am.
You completed Steve Foyle since your last hearing, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I completed the 9-month program, and I also stayed and did the phase 4 of the program.
Sex offenders?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not a sex offender.
Well, what Steve Foyle program did you take? Help me understand.
I took MRT, victim awareness, everything that the Steve Hall program is to offer. I basically took it. I took that, the 9-month program, and I stayed and did the phase 4 program. I took anger management, MRT, risk management, living in balance. I took thinking for a change, parenting, everything.
Well, what'd you get out of victim? Was there a victim in your case?
Well, if y'all consider where I would consider, I would. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Was a victim in the case.
Who was the victim?
Well, I say the victim was the woman in my family. I really consider my family as being a victim because the things that I was doing, I really abandoned my family. So I really consider, as I took that class of victim awareness, I just really considered like me putting my family as the victim. That's how I did the program, because I really abandoned my family and I left to do those things.
So the person who was engaging in the sex act, you don't consider that person a victim?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't, because the other thing was already going on once I came about, and I'm pretty sure they might still be going on. So I just know the person who really took the loss out of everything, out of all the situation, was me and my family, and I consider them as being a victim for leaving.
Why do you think people become involved when they become involved in prostitution?
Well, I think some people just start out dancing or doing those things to just make quick money.
Do you think they have substance abuse issue?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I do.
Think there's sometimes drug addicts who prostitute to support a drug habit?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I could say that.
Do you think sometimes they've been the victim of sexual abuse, perhaps as a child or teenager?
Some of them have been.
Well, how well did you know the person that was performing the sex acts? How well did you know that person?
I ain't know it too well. We was dating, we was talking for a couple of months, and I just started really engaging and taking her to do those things for extra money around the house and helping us out and doing it, and I ain't know her to what her childhood to like say.
Did you have a job?
Yes, ma'am.
What was your job?
I was just working at a gas station.
And so you thought it was okay, well, go turn tricks to get some extra money for the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Just trying to
At the time,
understand your thinking. What? Okay.
yes, man. At the time, I thought that was okay. That's why I was doing.
What do you think now?
So now I really understand, like, all the time that I wasted and all the things that it came about from me and my family, that I really truly understand that what I did was wrong. And I accept all my flaws from what I did and where I come from. So I then now I understand, like, what my family has for me. Like, I really have a job and everything lined up for me. So I really understand that I can't do the things that I once did. The person that I once was, I had to put him behind me. And I had to wake up as a new man each day, and I had to start over. And I had to know that things will be bad and things will be rough, and we will go through tough times in life. But I can't resort to doing something quick that land me somewhere here or for longer or dead. So I have to put all my eggs in the hatch and start from fresh. And since I've been in jail, not only did I take the program, but I really started a new career that I want to reach out and start once I do come home. I've been cutting hair. I've been starting to cut hair. So I've been cutting, like at least I try to cut a couple of heads a week. So I started cutting hair. and once I come home, I plan on getting me a job and going to barber school and learn more about the business.
I have the synopsis of the police report. And the young lady who was arrested for prostitution at the time that you were arrested for human trafficking, she was 18 years old.
Yeah. I thought you asked me how old she is now.
No, that's not what you thought. She was 18 years old. And do you honestly believe that she wanted to be prostitute?
Yes, man. I met her in a strip club.
And then that progressed into what?
Us dating and talking, and she getting money from clients.
You have convictions out of Mississippi. What was that for?
But riding on the highway, I had a gun on me.
And what was the charge?
It was a possession of a firearm.
Was it illegal for you to possess a firearm? I mean, possessing a firearm is not in and of itself a criminal activity.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It was illegal for me to carry the firearm
Because,
because I was a felon.
and was that because of the drug charge out of Arkansas?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that where are you from?
I'm from Arkansas, West Memphis, Arkansas.
So how'd you end up in Louisiana with this 18-year-old girl prostituting?
We started dating, and I started coming down here, and we just went on from there.
Whoa. You're from Arkansas.
Yes, ma'am.
What brought you to Baton Rouge or Louisiana rather?
The girl is from Arkansas as well.
I understand. So how did you end up in Louisiana? Neither one of you had any ties or connection to Louisiana. So why were you in Louisiana?
She brought me down. Well, I came down here with her. She had told me to come down here.
And Mr. Early, let me just tell you something. I've been a judge for 28 years.
You know.
And I understand how people move from state to state, taking girls and doing acts of prostitution. We've had a lot of prostitution stings in Baton Rouge. And people are from out of town and they come to other places for purposes of engaging in prostitution.
Yes, man. I understand what you're saying, but I had came to New Orleans, man. I wasn't in Baton Rouge. I had came to New
You
Orleans
don't
and
have to be Baton Rouge, it's the fact that you're bringing somebody from out of state to have sex with people in motel.
yes, man. See, I came to New Orleans on a vacation trip, and I knew girl from around our way, and we started talking, and then we just went from there. I knew her from West Memphis, and she was down there dancing, and we just went on from there.
West Memphis,
Yes, ma'am.
so you were in West Memphis prostituting people.
No, ma'am. It's West Memphis is Arkansas. That's where I'm from. That's where the girl is from too. But she was dancing in New Orleans, and when I seen her in New Orleans, we started to talk, and we rekindled on talking, and then we started dating, and I came down here with her because she already had everything. She has things going on already.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from your supporters. Let's hear from Ms. Toya Taylor, your sister. Ms. Taylor,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon, ma'am. If you tell us your name and tell us what you'd like us to know.
My name is Toya Taylor, and I'm Curtis's oldest sister. And I would like the court to know that over the time that my brother has been in jail, been incarcerated, we talk about his charges. We talk about what led him there. We lost our father during the time that he's been locked up. And I also lost my son, and he was really close to Curtis. And me being the person I am, I'm very direct about things. And I told him that the life that he was living is only two places that it will lead you: in jail or dead. And my son used to travel up and down the interstate with these little girls, just the same way Lil Curtis done. And my son was killed out here in the streets, and he lost a lot of his friends. And I told him that the actions that he took were wrong, but God don't make no mistakes. And he allowed his life to be spared for him to change his life around. And over the years, I've noticed growth in him. He's become a totally different man than what he was over a year ago or 2 years ago when we did the first hearing. I've noticed a whole lot of growth, a whole lot of maturity. I am a manager at TA Truck Service in West Memphis, Arkansas. We have a felony rehabilitation program here in my job where we allow convicted felons to get back into the workplace. And I have talked to the manager that's above me, and we are willing, once my brother is paroled, whenever that may be, or timed out, we are willing to give him a second chance to become a productive citizen in the society. And he has a little girl, and I really want him to be a father to his child, because we're losing too many young men to the prison systems and to the streets. And I tried my best to talk to my brother as much as I can to show him that he's given another chance. Even while he's locked up, I told him to use that time to better himself and to approach where he went wrong in the situation and stop blaming someone else, but take accountability for what he's done. And I've noticed that growth in him.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate your comments. We'll now hear from Ms. Early, who is Mr. Early's mother. Ms. Early? You're on mute, ma'am. You need to unmute your microphone. Still on mute. Good.
My name is Edna Early. Curtis is my baby son. I have two. Since he's been in jail, I've been helping to raise his daughter, which is sitting here beside me. She respects her dad to the highest. He calls her every week or twice a week to talk to her. And she just misses her dad. And he always have a place with me. He always do. And like Toya said, I have saw so much growth in him in the last 2 or 3 years. He's been in jail. His daughter's Kamari. She's now 9 years old. He hadn't saw her. I mean, he hadn't been with her here to raise her since she was what, five. He went to her kindergarten graduation, and then after that, he's been locked up. I'm really want him to come and help be a part of her life. She just needs him. And I think he's ready to, and she respects him highly. She respects her dad highly.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your comments. Now we'll hear from Mr. Randy Meyer with the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office.
Good afternoon. First off, let me say the commitment in the record shows that he was convicted of human trafficking. There is a note in the record, and I was, on the clerk's website trying to figure this out, stating that there's a note that there was an amendment to Pandering, but the commitment actually says human trafficking, which is a sex offense. And I noted in the record he was denied good time on a number of occasions because of a sex offense. And the human trafficking is a sex offense under the statute 15-541. I could not find a minute entry or there's no transcript. So, the transcript would control on that discrepancy. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. I don't know the answer to what the actual disposition is, but the commitment does show human trafficking. In listening to Mr. Early, I try to come with an open mind and listen to what the inmates say, what's been going on with him, what happened with the offense. And one thing that concerned me is what his sister said. His sister talked about how, a terrible thing happened to her son who was bringing girls up and down the highway. I assume for prostitution is what it sounded like, which is, she said the same thing that her brother was doing. It's not what he says he was doing. He said it was a girlfriend that he met here and he was coming down here to do something with her, to get with her, not that he was involved in pimping her in the prostitution trade. I was also concerned that it appeared that his concern for the victims was more the victim being his family, not Miss Jones, not the actual victim of this particular crime. Looking at his criminal record, it concerns me along with the offense that he committed here. He's got a kidnapping arrest, 4 firearm arrests. A few of those were stolen firearms, 4 domestic violence, and I think at least 1 was by strangulation. And then the human trafficking charge that he is currently involved in. They don't have a disciplinary report. I didn't see a disciplinary report in the record, but it is noted at the last hearing here, he had a disciplinary report and was denied. With that charge, I think sex offender treatment would benefit him, based on his past and what he's been doing. And looking at the programming that he has done, according to this record, it was only strengthening families and Steve Harvey. But I think more programming would be appropriate for him to do to try to get him to turn the corner and understand what he's done and be able to articulate the crimes he's committed to this board and understand what he's done and how he needs to change himself. So for all those reasons, we are opposed to his request for parole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mr. Meyer, our records do reflect, that there was a handwritten amendment on the Bill of Information on January 16th of 2020, signed by Miss Emily Booth, Assistant District Attorney, reducing the charge to pandering.
I did see that, but then the commitment that same day said.
I got you. I understand.
And that's why I was hoping they had some kind of a transcript or a minute entry that would, but I couldn't find it. So I was just bringing that to y'all's attention.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Mr. Early, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yes, yes, sir. I wanted to say that, just get a note to the board that I have all my programs and certificates with me. That I did complete the Steve Hall program and the MAT program, also the parenting program. I completed every program that it was. Like, I really, since I've been in jail, I never stopped trying to change. I never stopped trying to change. Like, no matter what the decision was, I always knew that I knew that I was always gonna get another chance to come out, to scrape myself up, and to do the things that I really need to do. So I wrote down me a plan. I had me a 1 to 10 year goal plan that I got from MRT, from the Steve Hall program. And I would just like you guys to know that, like, I'm just coming straight home to be with my family and just get a job. And like I say, start on me cutting hair and open up me a bank account and really just start to get my life back on track. The time that I didn't just sit in jail. I stayed away from trouble as much as I could. I ain't getting no trouble, no violence. All I did was just read, exercise, and just always worried about the next day, just waking up and just doing better.
Thank you, Mr. Early. We appreciate your comments. Panel ready to vote? Ms. Jackson?
Mr. Early, I do commend you for taking all the programs that you've taken. And that you've stayed out of trouble and a pretty decent record while in the institution. But it's one thing to be in a program. It's a totally different thing from the program to be in you. And it bothers me greatly. Because one, I don't think you've been honest with this board. You were taking this child around. I mean, she's an adult, but I mean, this teenage girl around, and you were pimping her out. And again, young women in that situation come from very desperate circumstances. Sometimes there's violence involved with them being in a relationship with a pimp. And I see all these arrests for domestic violence, which may very well have been those girls that you were forcing into acts of prostitution. And as I sat here today listening to you, I don't think you thought you, to this day, think there was anything wrong with what you did. You could not acknowledge that those young women were victims and that you had victimized them. You took advantage of whatever their difficulties were, whether it was drug addiction, whether it was homelessness, whether it was having been sexually abused in the past, and you did that for money. You wanted to make money, and you put those girls in those situations where their lives will never be the same, and you don't get it. You don't see anything wrong with that. I appreciate your sister's honesty because she acknowledged that's what y'all were doing. Y'all were driving these girls up and down the road, state to state, and pimping them out.
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'm talking now. So for me, I don't think you're ready. I don't even know if you have enough time to go through the Steve Hoyle sex offender treatment program, but you need to understand the harm that you have caused to these. They probably were broken already, and you took advantage of their brokenness for money. And you don't see anything wrong with that. You don't realize how despicable that is to pimp these girls out for money. So my vote today is to deny your full term date is June 3rd, 2024. I suggest you enroll in the Steve Hoyle Substance Abuse Sex Offender Treatment Program.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Wise?
Mr. Early, I want to commend you on the last hearing. You got so upset and you left before we finished the voting. So you are controlling yourself. You are doing better. You are growing. It is about staying out. I know you're in a hurry to get out, but we want you to be able to stay out when you get out this time. But my vote is the same for the same reason. I hope you get a chance to take victim awareness. You could benefit from that.
I took victim.
Mr. Early, we are voting. You've had your opportunity to talk. Ms.
I'm
Wise?
done.
Mr. Early, you got a lot more work to do. I agree with everything Ms. Jackson has said. My vote likewise is to deny. Good luck to you.
I did victim awareness. I took all the class that y'all telling me to take. The people at Steve Hall said that I'm charged under Pandering. I'm not charged under sex offense. The people won't even put me in it. I took the 9 months deal.
Mr. Early, we have voted. This hearing is over. Good luck to you.